Fitin10 Nation, it is day 4, 66 days to go. I want to remind you this challenge will fly by. It goes super fast. Before you know it, we'll be at the halfway mark, and then it'll seem like no time. We're at the end. Okay, just take advantage of each and every day. 70 days goes by super fast. I posted the Zoom codes yesterday in Slack. So if you ever want to do a Zoom class, you are more than welcome to. You can do as many as you want. However, the original program and the program that I prescribe is 3 in the gym workouts. Okay, ideally three in the gym workouts, and 3 of your cardio sessions. Okay. Now I know that some of you are doing virtual challenge, which means you're doing online classes, and this is totally fine. But I just want to tell you that if you can make it out to the classes, I'm going to really encourage you to do so. Okay. Weight training is like the #1 tool for long-term fat loss. Okay, we're talking about long-term. Keeping fat off. All right, among other things. Okay, cardio. I'm going to say this again. When you do your intervals on your cardio, these intervals last. They're minute segments, right? And so part of that minute segment is 15 to 20 seconds, depending on what I tell you to do. In this case, this week, 15 seconds where you get your heart rate up to that higher heart rate value. So you need to increase your intensity to get your heart rate up. And then the 45 seconds to make up the rest of the minute is at the lower intensity that you did your warm-up at. Okay? You will not, chances are, you will not get your heart rate back down in the 45 seconds. You will not get it back down to where it was for your warm-up, okay? So this is normal. But the point is that you are using the same intensity, okay? And again, you've got 6 minutes this week of intervals. Not very much, okay? So 10-minute warm-up, 6 minutes of intervals, and then 14-minute cool down. Okay, food prep. Now today I have to do some food prep. I'm always actually doing food prep because it always seems like I'm out of something. A lot of people don't like this because it requires planning and preparing, but it's just a part of life. You know, if you want to do something well, if you are organized in any way, shape, or form, organization requires planning and preparing, or maybe planning and preparing is part of organization, however you want to look at it. It's just a necessary evil, but it makes life easier if we're trying to do many things at once, especially if we're trying to get more accomplished. Being organized helps, right? And in this case, you just can't wing it, okay? Unless, of course, you're home all day, which I guess many of you are actually probably home all day, but you probably don't have time to be, cooking up a storm every time you go to eat. So I'm going to really encourage you to make some staple foods. Okay, what are staple foods? Well, staple foods are those foods that are really strong in one macronutrient. Okay, and these are foods that, of course, you enjoy, and foods that you can go to on a regular basis that are already pre-made, that you just have to sort of put together, and then you can ingest. So what are some examples here? Well, let's talk about protein. So some of my favorite proteins are ground bison, salmon, okay, wild salmon, and I love chicken. I love chicken breast. So I have those made typically. I have all 3 made, and they are ready to go. I just store them in probably not the best, not the most environmentally friendly. I tend to store them in, not always, but in Ziploc bags. It's just more space saving. But I will tell you, for those of you who are very environmentally conscious, I do wash them out and reuse them. So I am sort of doing my part. So those are my protein. Those are my core proteins that I like to have. Of course, there's eggs and egg whites, but I don't pre-make those. I'll make them on the spot. I also have protein powder and Greek yogurt and cottage cheese, but that stuff is all ready to go, right? It's just a matter of adding it into whatever you want to have. Some of my core staple carbohydrates. Really, there's just one that I guess there's a couple if we include vegetables, even though they're not super carbohydrate strong. One is rice. Okay. So I love white rice. Yes, brown rice is better. Okay. It's got more nutrients, more nutrient dense. It's obviously got more fiber and vitamin E, etc. A few other micronutrients as well. But I like the white rice, and that's what I go with, and tends to agree with me better than the brown rice. So I have that pre-made. I also like to pre-make Brussels sprouts. So I usually I'll go to Costco and I'll buy those bags of Brussels sprouts, and I will just wash them and cut them up, usually just into slices, and I will bake them in the oven for about 45 minutes. I like them really brown. Overcooked essentially, and they become very sweet, and I have those ready to go as well. Some of my other carbohydrate staples include fruit, which of course I don't prepare. This includes frozen fruit, by the way. I do a lot of frozen pineapple, a lot of bananas. I love Granny Smith apples. And I do also potato. I don't have potato that much, so I tend not to pre-make it, although I have before. So you could do like a lot of pre-made baked potato. And again, these are obviously all foods that I'm storing in the fridge. And I realize that people say, well, I really don't like living out of like Tupperware and stuff. Yeah, I understand that, but if you're trying to manage your diet, I don't really know any other way, especially when it comes to something that is as specific as this challenge. Okay, but when you're trying to get these, and especially if you're trying to have some good variety and you're always thinking about your health, you want some variety of meats, specific kinds of meats. Like the salmon is a very good source of protein, because we get a lot of those omega-3 fats. Same with wild red meat. We get those organic omega-3 fats. And we want some variety too. We don't want to develop any allergies. I don't know if you can develop allergies from eating too much of one meat, but maybe you can. Anyways, I am going off on a bit of a tangent here. The point is we want to make these staple foods and have them ready to go. Okay? And it will make your life much easier, and you can whip together a bunch of foods very, very quickly. Okay? Another thing I like is, and again, this may not apply to you, but I really like to, I buy the, what's it called? The stir-fry vegetables, the frozen stir-fry vegetables at Costco. And some people also ask me, is the frozen fruit and vegetables as good as the fresh? I actually tend to think that it's probably better, because very soon after harvesting, they go in and they get frozen. So, and from what I understand, if you're freezing, all the nutrients are held within at least for quite a long time, are held within the vegetable or fruit that you're having. Whereas if you are buying fresh fruit, the longer that's sitting out, it's just losing nutrients. It's getting oxidized and it's losing its nutrient value. Okay, generally speaking. Not always. Some things are ripening and they're developing more nutrients, but generally you're losing it. Okay, the longer that it sits out. So I think there's an argument to have frozen vegetables. When it comes to fats, now the fats that I have, I typically don't really have added fats beyond fish oil. But if I do, these are coming from eggs, really, from the salmon that I eat, and and sometimes some nut butter or something like that. But generally, I get enough fat through the foods that I eat. But of course, you could add in things like avocado. I do have avocado. I just don't have that often. Great source of fat. When it comes to cooking with your fats, we'll talk about this in the near future, but we want to think about using stable fats for cooking, okay? So we'll talk about that in the near future because I'm already over 10 minutes and I ramble too much, okay? Just think about staple foods. Some protein-strong foods that you like, some carbohydrate-strong foods that you like, and generally with your fats, these are oils or real butter or avocado. These things are they're already pretty much ready to go, or maybe you're going to cook with them. Okay, mess of the day. Mess of the day is very simple, and it's another really, really important one. And it goes like this. If it is to be, it's up to me, right? Well, it's up to you is what I'm saying, of course, but this is something you can say yourself, right? If it is to be, it's up to me. That is, if you're going to make something happen, then it's up to you to make it happen. Anything, and I've said this, God, I don't know how many times I've said this, but anything that I've really wanted to do, I've done because I really wanted to do it. So I think, there is something to be said. If there is a will, there will be a way. You will find a way, okay? So it really just boils down to how bad do you want to do it. All right? If it is to be, it's up to me, okay? Or if it is to be, it's up to you. If it's going to happen, it's up to you, so make it happen, all right? Positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, for the love of God, give some gratitude, and I will hopefully see you in class sometime soon if I haven't seen you already. And any questions you have, send them through Slack. I'm a little bit behind in responding. These last couple days were crazy. I was literally at the gym for 15 hours yesterday. So my schedule isn't always like this. It's just a crazy time right now. So be patient. I will get you, and I will respond a little more promptly as time moves forward here, okay? Talk to you guys all soon. Have a wonderful day, and give your gratitude. See you guys.